everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new or don't know me, my name is Hennessy, and I created this channel to talk through all things investing in Dominican Republic, working from home, and traveling. So, today we're going to answer a really important question. And that question is: should you be advertising your Airbnb property that's located in Dominican Republic? We are going to be walking through why advertising matters, the best platforms to use, and how to make sure that you're utilizing these platforms to continue to build and grow your Airbnb business. Okay, so the first thing we're going to discuss is why does advertising matters? Now, if you are a host or thinking about becoming a host, right? You don't want to just rely on the Airbnb algorithm because of the amount of competition that you have in Dominican Republic, especially in areas like Punta Cana and Santo Domingo, right? When you rely just on the platform and there's so many of them, sometimes if you're not utilizing all the tools or if your pictures are not the best, then you're not going to really show up. And let's be honest, if you ever use the Airbnb platform, if your property is not showing up on the maybe first page, maybe second page, are you really going to look through 10 and 20 pages of an Airbnb property? No, you're going to be utilizing filters. You're going to be looking at the first two pages to see if you can find what you're looking for. So, what you want to do is that you want to make sure you're actively optimizing your Airbnb page in order to increase your occupancy rate, help you stand out from the competition and continue to attract guests. And you're going to do that not only through Airbnb, but you're going to utilize other platforms to also attract them to your Airbnb listing. Now, last year, if you guys saw my video on how much money I made in Airbnb um, in Dominican Republic, you guys know that it decreased from the previous year. But one thing that I didn't do last year that I did the previous year is that I was heavily advertising my property, which last year I was too lazy. I didn't do what I needed to do. But I'm back at it this year. We're going to be advertising the property again because we need the highest revenue. So I'm going to tell you exactly the things that you can do to make sure that you're advertising your property. So, first things first, where should you be advertising, right? We're going to start with the platform that you're on already. That's going to be Airbnb, whether you're using Verbo, whether you're using Booking, any of these sites that you're using to put your short term rental page. Those are the areas that you first want to advertise to in. So, how do you advertise in on Airbnb, right? There's obviously not something that you can let them know, hey, can you boost this? Can you show my listing first? So here are some things that you can do to make sure that your listing is showing up properly. The first things first, and I know a lot of people don't do this, and you're missing out if you're not paying for this, and is having high quality images. Pay for a photographer because it is an investment, right? And this is an Airbnb platform or any short-term rental platform. People are going to be viewing it through these pictures, and then they're going to determine whether they want to stay there or not. So, you have to invest in great pictures that's going to attract people to your listing. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure you have a good description. You want to utilize the spaces that Airbnb is giving you to describe exactly what you're putting out there. What are the amenities offer? What type of vibe can they get from this apartment or this property? And that's what you want to use. You also want to use keywords that travelers search for. So if you have a property that's beachside, you want to include that within your description or your title. If your property is walking distance to the beach, maybe you want to include that within the description. So things that that people are going to be searching for, you want to make sure you're adding these keywords into your description. The other thing that you can do is use, I know Airbnb does this and it's the promotional tools, right? So if you use the promotional tools, depending on the percentage that you feel comfortable giving off, then Airbnb is actually going to promote your property. Is going to promote your property to people that have already viewed it, to people that went to your page, to just anyone who's visited before. So there's definitely levels to it. And if you go to the promotional tool, depending on the percentage, is going to tell you exactly what Airbnb can do for you. So if you give people, a promotion, a discount, then Airbnb is going to boost your page. Now, the second platform that I like to advertise in, and this is one that I use a lot within my first year and my second year, but like I said, last year, I was just like, I was chilling. I was not doing what I needed to do, but I'm back at it again this year. And that's Facebook and Instagram ads. So in DR, obviously, like Airbnb is like the highest used platform. Verbo is up there. All these platforms are highly used, but with so much competition, how can you put your property in front of more people? And by doing that, you are going to go to Facebook and Instagram. They have an advertising section, and you can go about it different ways. You can boost your posts, you can create ads, and that way you tell Facebook, like, find me people that are going to go to my Airbnb page. Now, you can do it several ways. The way that I like to do it is just to get as many people to click through and make it to the Airbnb page. And the reason why I like to do it that way is because I like to use my Facebook and Instagram ads to power Airbnb algorithm. What I mean by that is that the more views you're getting to your page, Airbnb is viewing this as something positive and is going to boost your page to that first page, or to the top. The more views you get, that algorithm is going to be like, oh, people are interested in this property. So let me boost it up to the first page because obviously, like, there's a lot of traffic going to it. So that's how I power or use Instagram and Facebook to power my Airbnb listing. And I create those ads to be to focus on links clicked, meaning I'm providing my Airbnb page as a link, and then the algorithm for Facebook and Instagram is going to focus on finding people that are willing to click on that page. And then that's going to drive them to my Airbnb page. Once they're on my Airbnb page, Airbnb is going to pick that up and is going to see the traffic that's going to the page, and then is going to boost my Airbnb page. You see how that works? So that's the strategy I like to use. You can also do other things. But one thing I would suggest, if you're using social media platforms to boost your property, make sure, again, going back to the images, you want to have good images, you want to have good videos, because again, as you guys use social media, right? You're seeing it on social media, and if something actually looks nice, you're willing to stay there and look at it. If something doesn't look nice, people are just going to scroll through, and then that's going to be you spending money on advertising for like no reason. So you want to make sure you have quality pictures and videos that are going to attract people to click through to your Airbnb page. Another platform you can use, which I don't use, and it's funny because I literally do this for work. But the reason I don't do it is because it does take a lot more work than Facebook and Instagram, which I already told you my strategy on how I utilize both Facebook and Instagram ads to be able to boost my Airbnb page. But you can also use Google Ads, and you can create search ads that are going to target keywords that people are searching. So, meaning, if you do a little bit of research on, or if you just have that knowledge on what people are going within Google and going to search, so your property could come up. For instance, my apartment in Valladolid, I can uh bid on keywords that are like apartment rental in Valladolid, short-term rental in Valladolid, Airbnb in Valladolid. Like those keywords I can add to my Google Ads page, where I am telling Google Ads, hey, if someone searches for this, I want you to populate my ad. The reason I don't do Google Ads is because I think that for me to use Google Ads, I need to be on a different level. And what I mean by that is that Google Ads is conversion driven. Once you're searching on Google, you're easily able to convert somebody. But because I'm using a third party platform like Airbnb or like Verbal or like Booking, there is no way to track. the outcome of your ads, right? Now, if I had my own page and I was driving people to my page, then I would use Google Ads because I could tag my page and then be able to see, and retarget people that are going to my page through these ads. However, because I'm using a third party site and I don't have my own site, then I don't like to use Google Ads because you're kind of losing visibility on tracking. And it's hard to determine whether if you're spending like $100 a day, whether that $100 is actually providing a return of investment, right? So I think, Google Ads, I feel like for you to use Google Ads is not a bad thing. Um, but because it's a conversion driven channel, I would say like you have to be at like a different level to use Google Ads. If you just want your page to show up and like awareness or consideration, and you just want your page to be in front of as many people as possible, then again, Facebook and Instagram could do that. Another way to advertise your property is for you to become part of Facebook groups that are located in Dominican Republic that are tied around like tourism or Airbnb, because you're either going to be communicating with other people that are in Airbnb, and let's say they can't have a host, they can't host a guest, then they could put it in the group and say, hey, does anyone have availability within this area? I've done that a couple of times. I am part of an Airbnb group in, Punta Cana, La Romana area, but not too much. I feel like the group, I don't know, the vibe is a little bit different, but it's definitely something you can utilize to your advantage and like find all these different groups and like advertise your property, right? Of course, the other way to advertise your property is just through your personal Instagram or Facebook, whatever platform you're utilizing that you may have a good amount of reach. Then again, put your pictures and put your video up because that's going to directly have an impact to the people that may know you that could rent your property, right? So put it in these platforms, try to advertise it, I guess, a little bit more organically, but you're still advertising it. So you can utilize, again, your own, if you have a good following on Instagram, if you want to utilize your WhatsApp status, if you want to, again, Facebook, there's a lot of people that have a lot of friends in Facebook. You can utilize these areas that you have high following to advertise your property. Okay, so that's it, right? Those are the places you can advertise. Is the platform you're using to put up your listing, whether Airbnb, verbal booking. You can use Facebook and Instagram or any other social platform, but I think Facebook and Instagram have a good reach for this. You can also utilize TikTok. You can utilize your Facebook groups that are part locally to Dominican Republic in the area you're in, and then, of course, use your own platform and advertise your property. Now, if you want to use Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, these are some tips I'm going to share for you to be able to do that. So, a few tips, like I've mentioned before, again, but to close out, you want high quality pictures or videos. You want to make it intriguing. You want to make it, that people are going to want to click through. You also want to feature the unique qualities, whether that's within the video or, you're putting it in your description of your ads, but you want to make sure you're pointing to, two bedroom, two bath apartment in so and so, or walking distance to the beach. You can again offer special deals, whether on the Airbnb platform or through Facebook and Instagram ads. And of course, the last thing you want to think through is if you're telling people to go to your page, is how can you remarket to those people? And the idea is that, again, you use Facebook and Instagram to then create another ad where it's like, show this again to someone who's already viewed it or to someone who clicked through. And that way they're going to like see it again. Like, have you ever clicked, like, for instance, you go to Nike and you look at a pair of shoes, and then later on you go to a different website and that shoe like appears on the side, or now it's like on Instagram and it's coming up. Like, that's how retargeting works, right? You went to the site and you become a part of their list of people. They're able to track you, unless you have tracking off, but they're able to track you. And then you're going to create ads that are going to retarget to those people, letting them know or reminding them and letting your property be top of mind if they're considering renting it. Now, my final thoughts on whether advertising is necessary, I would say that it is absolutely necessary. And the reason I can say that is, as I mentioned when I started this video, last year, I did not advertise at all. I went the whole year without spending a dime on advertising. And overall, as you guys saw, like things went down. They weren't totally bad. Like, I know a lot of people was like, oh, well, at least you still got to like pay your property. And yes, yes, it was still great. But obviously, you are leaving income, or a revenue stream on the table if you're not advertising, because the year before in total, I made more than I did last year. So I do think that advertising is important and you should definitely be doing it. You should set a budget aside for it, of course, because again, if you're just fixing up your property page on Airbnb, you're not spending anything for that. But you then, let's say you use the promotional tool, you're providing a discount. So you have to account for that. If you're using Facebook and Instagram or TikTok ads or Google ads, you have to pay for that. So you have to account for like that money being spent for you to be able to make more money. And this is what I say. I don't think Google Ads is a great choice unless you have a personal page that you can track people, because again, you want to be able to say, I spent $100 and I got $200 back from this ad. Like, and that's just an example. So I do think it is important. I think you should be doing it. If you do it, especially with social media, you should make sure you have good pictures and videos and a good description, because again, it's all by, our eyes is what's attracting us. That's going to make us click through to your page. If your picture's that ugly, like no one is clicking through. No one is clicking through. So make sure you're investing in good pictures and videos. So yeah, if you think that was helpful, or if you have any questions on advertising, I'm surprised I didn't do this before, because advertising is what I do for a living. That's my 9 to 5, y'all. I work in advertising. So I know how important it is. So definitely fumbled last year big by not doing it, but definitely wanted to share with you all my experience and the reasons why I think you should do it. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment or subscribe or like, and let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much and see you next time.